What's up, guys? I'm gonna test 1, 2, 3, make sure my mic's working. The volume level's all good. How's everybody doing tonight? We've got Paul Gibbons here. It's the cage match.
Yeah, I'm ready to duke it out. Are you ready to duke it out, buddy? Because you know.
I know what I'm standing for. Do you know what you're standing for?
I don't know. You know, I don't hang out as much in the political discourse as you do. I think it's a symptom of just how disenchanted I was. I think during 2016, 2020 election, I was passionate about it. I was checking social all the time and commenting on social and publishing on it and all that. And once they're out, they're like, there's very little I can do about this. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm going to focus on my intellectual craft and let them do what they do. So I'm not without opinions. You want to know what I did to prepare for this, by the way?
What do you do?
I compared your thinking, because I asked Gemini. I was like, yo, Gemini, all right, look this guy up. I want to know everything he says, like gears to Rust and the architecture and like what he stands for and all that kind of stuff. So it gave me like the usual 3 pages of like Ethan Faulkner, like, you know, the credo, the manifesto. And I'm like, dude, he sounds like Nietzsche, like compare him to Nietzsche. And he's like, okay, well, you know, Nietzsche would say, you know,
I'm actually working on a book right now to make that even easier, so you won't even need an AI. Figure that out.
And bro, then I was like, well, he sounds kind of Marxist. And he's like, well, yes and no, like that. And I was like, well, compare him to like Ayn Rand or Slavoj Žižek or anything like that.
The only way I'm Marxist is because I care about working people. He used it as a populist way to get power. That's the argument.
Who? Marx?
Yeah.
Did you? Marx died like broke ass motherfucker. He died like he was
broke.
He was broke his whole life.
I'm trying to say like the way the Soviets used Marxism. People like to say.
Oh yeah. As they used it as an instrument of control, rather than he'd have been rolling over in his grave rather than an emancipatory mechanism. It was an instrument of control. No question about it.
I've never studied his stuff. If things are relevant, it's just because I don't even think of it like politics, man. This is life. This is quality. These are people, man. That's all I gotta say. If that's politics now. I guess that's politics now.
At his most inspirational, he has a commitment to humanity and a commitment to the liberation of humanity that equals your own. And then I turned from that and I said, well, compare his views to like communism. And he says, well, he's kind of a narco-communist, but then he's kind of an Ayn Rand libertarian and everything. So you don't fit in any boxes. That's the problem with you, right? You got to get in a box.
I try not to. And that's that talk all about too many boxes. Anyway, yo, this is Paul Gibbons. We're talking about AI and its implications for the future and in general, its applications for corporations and industry in the future. Paul Gibbons is an author and a speaker. You want to introduce yourself? You want to give us a little bit about you?
Dude, I'm 65 years old, so that would take 3/4 of an hour. All I can say is, what do I do mostly now? It changes. The work I'm going to do for money has been public speaking on AI. And I'm one of the guys who has been in the system his whole life. Like I'm either been in college. I have like 13 years in college after high school.
What would you say is not in the system?
Is not in the system? Like what part is not in the system?
You said you're in the system the whole time.
Well, I'm in the system, but I've always been like sort of a radical within the system. Mm-hmm. Like I've been the guy who it calls bullshit when there's bullshit. It hasn't necessarily made me any friends, but I've worked for the man. I worked for IBM. I worked for Morgan Stanley. You know, I work for the really respected, powerful institutions. And I think I've always been the guy that they've invited in, not to tell them things they want to hear, but to call bullshit. That's what to say, to bullshit. Like, you know, you guys are deceiving yourself. I mean, yeah, like sustainability. We're going to have a statement of sustainability principles. Exxon sustainability principles.
So then they can put it in the investor report to say that they
exactly to see what good people we are and how much we care for the planet. My ass. So yeah, but I mean, I have such an admiration for your stance, and I have such incredible admiration for the intellectual strength of what you do. And I could be considered an intellectual with 13 years of college, and your stuff is strong, man. Really, really strong. So
I keep hearing that. And it was
res-
so the research came, and I appreciate the respect. The research came first, and the way that I write it, to keep myself interested, is why I write the way I do. I had to make it feel entertaining. I'm not somebody who likes to just read information just to learn information. I like stories. I like stakes. I
you
like,
like metaphors, analogies. That's why
yeah.
you're Nietzschean. You've got these really like, grinding, visceral the gears and the
Life is
rut.
crazy. So like nonfiction is exciting. I realized that's what this
I,
project helped me realize.
I
But
like it too. When did you birth the project? Let me ask something about you. I know a lot of these people are your fans and they know your backstory, but tell me, like, what gave rise to this for you? Like, what was like, because what made this an itch that you had to scratch?
the fact that I couldn't talk to anybody in my real life about it without them telling me to shut the fuck up or there being friction in politics. It's so like it was a journal at first.
Right.
I wasn't expecting people to read it, even though I definitely was hoping people would read it.
The 17,000 people read it now, at my last count, or whatever it is.
Those are the followers.
Is that surprising to you? Is that surprising to you? Like when you started doing this and like 2 people were following you, and then you posted something, you got like 1 like. Like, did you ever think like, fuck, this isn't worth it?
I might have thought that I was onto something with my AI using, because all right, so this is what we get on topic, right?
Yeah, let's
I
go.
I like 80% of what I posted in the text is AI generated, although altered and edited. Everything on my Substack, including comments. So like, in the way people were engaging with them, and the fact that I was making a custom AI, like I was not making an AI saying, give me the most engagement. I wasn't saying, how can I get popular on Substack, right? I was creating what I call a doctrinal engine, which means it follows base principles and it applies base principles that I teach it to everything, right? So basically, for example, I don't know, we got what I call the 3-layer prison. I can bring that up on the screen real quick. Where that? And that's part of my doctrine, right? Is this thing right here? Oh, the chat's in the way. I'll move that. But basically, when my AI, when I tell it things, it will respond in a way that uses these words like, oh, this is a part of economic terror, right? And it will explain how extraction is used to keep people suppressed and unable to take actions. And then there's the layer, oh, this is a horizontal distraction. Layer 2, the AI will respond that way. I don't even have to prompt, it's built in that way. It'll say, oh, these people are debating whether transgenderism is important or not, while the wealth disparities getting worse and worse all the time. Like, that's a horizontal distraction.
I had that conversation with my son today. Is like, because I would consider myself in America, I would be considered far left. In Europe, I'd be somewhere near the center.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to my son today, like, why my team lost, because someone in my family, I said this computer's behaving like a little bitch, right? Which is the way we talk to each other. We talk like we're from the hood, even though none of us are. And my sister said, how dare you use that word? Do you know how impressive this is to women? And I finally, after a long discussion, I said, that's why Trump is president, is because you chose to spend an hour and a half upbraiding me for attacking an AI, because it was an AI. It was like a game I was playing, Civilization. And I said, yeah, like whatever.
Computer player.
And she may be right or she may be wrong, but the fact that she made it a 90-minute discussion, and while we were obsessing over pronouns and trans rights, which I think are super valuable. I mean, I think the conversation needs to be had. It's not like the conversation needs to be completely wiped off the table, but it doesn't have to be number one when people are struggling and not getting enough to freaking eat and not getting health care, right?
The fact that there's a lot more like activism groups for that than there are in general trying to get lobbying out of politics.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to get talking about it in general. I feel like is a horizontal distraction from trying to fix something that, in general, poverty exasperates all social issues.
That's absolutely right. But we don't also, when we're careful, when we say, I say this needs to be number 1, it should be number 20 or 25. We're not in that group. Like, we happen to be in the group that is the most privileged, like from that point of view, as white dudes, right? So white straight dudes. So, like, if I can say, it's so easy for you to say that it should be number 25 on the list of priorities, Mr. 65-year-old white man who works for the man, but we have to be careful. But while we were busy tripping over that, Donald Trump was winning the affections of the working class. A man who is the master exploiter of the working class.
Yeah.
So his whole life.
Rhetoric.
Union busting his whole life. He was in court in the 1970s for, I don't want to get into him because, as you say, he's kind of a sideshow. Because I've always said in some of my political writing when I used to do that, if you were run over to a bus, MAGAism wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Because he got 50 million votes.
Let's get back to AI.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, this is all germane. So what do you think? I'll tell you in a minute. Well, what do you think? Do you think AI is emancipatory, or it's going to lead further to the further enslavement of...
Black box AI is not emancipatory. So basically, I think the system is already functioning exactly the way it's designed, with like obfuscating, everything's opaque. I didn't know very much about the ins and outs of politics until I went deep diving. Even that's part of it, knowing how things work. It's all behind gated knowledge, it feels like. And the black box is part of that. What I mean when I say black box is the only people who know the way the AI works, what it prioritizes and how it thinks, is the company that owns it. You will never know what it's manipulating as it's thinking and giving you outputs. That's a black box AI.
There's something about the way machine learning works that it will always be impenetrable to us. There will always be, we don't know how the brain works, right? And we'll never know exactly how AI is doing what it's doing because it's too complex. The brain, we can't understand the brain properly. There's trillions of connections.
Yeah, but we don't have access to they call it their patents, right? The stuff that they write, the way they train. But like they can put in things that say, and they definitely do, like, oh, if they talk about medical issues, make sure you're really, really careful and you just steer away.
Have you noticed how buttoned up it is on medical issues these days? Like it used to be like, it used to just like freewheel advice at you, and now it's like very cautious about what it says and doesn't say.
I think that stuff's important, but I don't like that it's considered private information, knowing how that functions, because they could be changing as more and more people use AI. They could be altering public perception and basically just controlling narratives a lot easier.
Yeah, I don't assign sort of these conspiratorial narratives to Silicon Valley default. They do have the power, but I would say I'm an anti-capitalist, but capitalism is going to live long past my death and maybe for another 50 years and maybe for another 550 years. But I would call myself that. But then anytime, right now, Google, well, you're interested in microcapitalism and that capitalism as an emancipatory force. What you're not interested in is capture by the banking system or the government, right?
The modern American capitalism. I don't like
if I understand the sort of microcapitalism that's never existed in the history of humanity.
The profit first ethic model.
Yeah. So no, but think about it. I mean, these are things. I was consider myself sort of an anti-capitalist, but when someone says, as soon as someone like Anthropic or Google donated $100 million for AI education in Africa, I'd say that it may not be exactly that. And the first thing I saw in Substitute was, there they go again, trying to buy their way into the school system and manipulate the thing. And I think that kind of default conspiratorial thinking is that no private enterprise can ever do any good. is a mistake.
It is
And
a
I think
mistake.
the other mistake, of course, we make is that whatever corporations do in their own interests naturally benefits humanity, because that's just a stupidity, right? So I think somewhere in between, like even horrible corporations sometimes do good, and I think even very good corporations, they sometimes are. So this black and white thinking, this seeing a conspiracy behind every move, even when people and companies, are trying
I
to do
don't
good.
think it's a
I don't like.
conspiracy. I think that's how the system is incentivized to function. Therefore, that's the normal. Is not a conspiracy. If you want to succeed as a business, this is what you do.
Yeah, it kind of breaks my heart. Actually, it breaks my heart that the education system has been captured by, when I went to college, which was in the 1970s, the business school was like three dudes in a shack in a corner of the campus, right? Now it's a palace with 1,000 people working in it.
Jesus.
And that's over 40
you'll see
years.
that here one day. I'm just kidding.
That's the sort of businessification of the world. And now it's considered irresponsible to study the humanities. You study art, you study literature, you study history, you study philosophy, anything like that is considered an irresponsible path. And my kids who love that shit, like I have a kid who's a rapper, right? He loves making music, but he's like, I got to make money, so I got a degree in business.
That song I was playing with me.
It breaks my heart. I listen to rap and EDM. I'm the oldest.
I listen to rap, EDM, and rock. All three.
Rock. Oh, I can't stand rock. The last good rock song was written in 1973, bro. I think Led Zeppelin 3 was the last good rock album.
My favorite era. But...
well, by then I was already. Anyway. But anyway, I have an interesting backstory. Is like I went from making $1 million a year when I was 23 to being homeless for 5 years between the ages of 27 and 32. That's an interesting story. Because wow. I was an addict. I was chewed up by the system. Well, no, my own system, right? I don't know who told me to become a junkie, but I was into coke on Wall Street. We used to say there's more cocaine traffic than there was traffic in bonds. I don't know if that's still true, but
no, I've seen how that affects people.
I became a very heavy user, and it got to the point where I was so impaired I couldn't find a job, and then I was like, I ran out of money finally.
I want to track back for a second though to the.
You're gonna track back as I'm telling a story, bro. Okay, that's cool. Go ahead, track away.
Well, this is supposed to be a caveman, my friend.
Well, you want to duke it out some more?
Yeah, I thought you brought up something before we transitioned. I didn't get to touch on it. You brought up the distrust in the institutions, right?
Yeah.
I agree that we shouldn't just by default distrust, and we should not by default just trust them. But I was wondering, do you think it's a psychological failure on our part, or would you want to consider perhaps it's a normal output of that system I told you is normal?
Well, it's funny is someone there you study business ethics, right? Enron, all the like bad boys of the business world. I don't think that human beings, one by one, on an individual basis, are bad or evil or corrupt. Not that there aren't, but by and large, human beings are good to their kids. They want to do a good job. They want to pay the mortgage. They want to have a little bit of money in the bank at the end of the month. That's the kind of norm in the middle. And then you put them in a system like Enron, or you could say a bigger system like Wall Street, or a bigger system like the banking system.
Well, and all of a sudden, talking about the elites. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about a system of people who are well-intentioned producing really bad outcomes.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there is nobody in the world who would say, yeah, let's pollute the fuck out of that river. Let's dump all those chemicals right into that river. And, we don't care downstream if it poisons children's drinking water. We don't give a shit about that.
Now,
like nobody thinks like that.
Who set it up aren't thinking like that. Right?
No, I don't think the guys at the top are either. I think they're a product of the system. I don't think even the most hardened capitalists.
But they don't need more money to survive. So
who, the guys at the top? The guys at the top.
But they need to keep their job, is how they're thinking, and they need to keep making more money to keep their job, because they're at the top.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say to the example, like the guys who did the Volkswagen engineers to install the device that would beat emissions tests, and they weren't the guys at the top; they were a bunch of engineers saying, "I think we can beat the emissions test, and we won't have." Like for me, it's like, why would you? For me, when human beings get into a system, they respond in accordance with the incentives of the system
Yes.
of the system.
I
I
guess
think
what
we'd
I'm
agree with
arguing
that.
is that humans made the system, though.
We sure did, but we don't design it kind of intentionally. Do you think we designed it intentionally? Like, do you
Lobbying,
think any?
yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
Do you
people
think this?
pay money to send people to Congress to make sure the laws are harder for working people.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree. Robert Reich would say it's a system of laws. Capitalism just a system of laws. It protects some rights and it doesn't other. If you want to declare a corporate bankruptcy, we have laws to protect you to do that. You want to declare bankruptcy as a student loan borrower, good luck. We'll chase you to your grave. And there's a system of laws that are designed to oppress some people and benefit others, unquestionably. You agree with that, right?
Yeah, and people are actively making the decision to make the effort for that to happen. That's not
Right.
a natural human thing, and it's also not a product of the system.
What isn't a product of the system exactly?
There
Sorry.
is no, other than the fact that I guess this is the one argument I guess against what I'm saying is the fact lobbying is legal. But there's
It's not
no,
legal. It's not legal everywhere, by the way. It's only legal. It's only happens here in this country to the extent that it happens, right?
yeah,
Like in Europe, you just can't get away with
since
that shit.
it's legal, it's a viable way to
Of
improve
course it is.
profit for your company if it works out for you.
100%. It's 100%. It's a legitimate way
So
of
in
using
that
the political system for
world,
yeah.
that's how, by that logic rather, that's how they make the decision to dump chemicals in the water too.
Yeah.
Now,
Why? Because it's in their financial interest, you're saying.
yeah, um, money is a resource for survival, but when you're
Yeah.
at that point, it's no longer a resource for survival. And I think that is where maybe a disconnect happens, and your argument could be true, where they don't make the difference in their head that they're affecting people's survival for their own who knows what.
Well, it's certainly true that people at the top don't think in terms of how am I going to pay the mortgage. Um, they don't have the same worries as most of us have. How am I going to put my kid through college? I'm going to pay the mortgage. How am I going to pay for grandma's operation? They don't have worries like that so much. But I don't think, even the people I've met who are oil and gas industry execs who will defend to their death the right to do fracking. I don't think intentional harm. It's what they call ethical failing. They don't see it as an ethical issue. They see it as an issue of how can I do a good job getting this stuff out of the ground, and they don't really think enough about what might be the consequences.
What
What are the
if your
consequences
job was to be a healthcare CEO and you're responsible for the deaths of lots of people? Do you think
for a
that
healthcare studio? Like, what do you mean? Like
CEO?
my job was to be a healthcare CEO, like a health insurance CEO, like the dude that got shut down. And my job is to deprive people of healthcare.
Do you think that that is a job that should exist?
Wow. I mean, sort of should exist.
Well, I'm trying
So,
to think in your logic where you're saying they I'm back, right? Hopefully you guys see me. I need to get him back in.
I think your question about healthcare CEO. So I think, an MRI machine for $3 million, right? So the idea that healthcare can just be atomized, the gears in your system are the doctors and nurses who are doing the real work or helping people. And the people who are the healthcare infrastructure, the finance and the insurance and the admin and all that, they're the rust, right, in the system.
The rust, yep.
Is that your model of the world? I mean, the problem is we need
Well, I
some.
think the rust is an ideology, it's a state of mind, and that's where we disagree. Is you think that people are thinking only because of the way the system incentivizes, and I think there's a certain level where the incentives drop off when you no longer need it to survive, right? And you.
So what's their motivation at the top then for? Is it power? The will to power, as I call it in one of my books.
Oh, 1 second, you are echoing now. I gotta fix that. Why are you echoing?
Yeah. Is it a will to power? Is it a will to dominate? A will to crush? Is it greed? Spiritual flaw? Like, what do you think? Like, why do? I mean, I'm puzzled by the same thing, by the way.
Why are you?
When I would. Why am I echoing? Come here, baby. I'm speaking through my microphone. Let me just check my settings while we're in here. Okay, that might be that. Headset. 1 sec. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Can you hear me?
I like that.
Oh, yeah. Some audio glitch in the matrix. When I was a bond trader in the 1980s, arrogant little fuck that I was, but there was a guy called Mike Milken who, in those days, $100 million was considered a lot of money. It's chump change today, right? But anyway, he was worth $100 million, and he was the king of Wall Street and junk bond trading. And he got done for fraud, and I don't know if he spent any time in jail. He might have got a big sentence, like 10, 15 years. Okay. And I did think to myself at the time, and this is a puzzlement for me, is like, why would a guy who's worth $100 million, like, what is his incentive to get another 50? Like, what?
I could tell you an ethical reason would be to reinvest it into.
What's your theory of humankind, like there? That because it defies my logic.
I think that if he reinvested it into infrastructure and systems that improved humanity, or not necessarily philanthropic, but maybe lobbying for people, like things that show that you're going to use your money not just to make more money. And I know that's not how businesses work, but when you have extra profit, right?
It's exactly how Wall Street works.
Well, if you have excess profit, you decide what you. But most people spend it on like stuff they don't need, excess things, instead of.
Well, I mean, we're speculating on a psychological question. Is like, what motivates someone to break the law who's already got $100 million in the bank to really?
I guess that's the rust. I don't know.
I mean, you could argue that investment banking is all rust.
It's bad culture.
You can argue the whole investment banking culture, or whole Wall Street's all rust.
I call it bad culture, man. It's literally because it's so normal. It's not considered unethical, like you were saying before.
He did go to jail for it.
I think.
But I just was wondering about his psychology. That's like, to me, it's just like, why would you do that? Martha Stewart, whatever. These people who are phenomenally rich, why the corruption when you're that rich and powerful already? Like,
I think they like the excess. They like having tons of money to spend on things. They probably
but $100 million, you're going to have to buy an awful lot of private jets to spend $100 million a year.
you don't think there's more private markets out there you don't know about? Like,
I've been very rich and I've been very poor, and I've been, like on the thing. But I remember when I was like 22 years old, I went to this.
Drugs are expensive. You know that. Drugs are hell expensive.
Oh yeah, they are. So I went to this. I went to on holiday in France when I was a little shit, 22 years old or whatever. And one of the little towns in France is like, I got a yacht club. And it's not a famous town you never heard. It's called Antibes, right? And I went into it, and there were like 200 boats, right? And there are 200 boats, which would all be called yachts. And I thought to myself at the time when I was a young fellow, I thought, there's 200. The average value of one of these things, probably $500,000. There's 200 of them here. Like, what thing? And then I thought to myself, but wait, there are 100 towns like this dotted around the Mediterranean coast. And it kind of blew my mind. And this is something that that captivates me is this idea of static wealth. Like, I think you want in your model of the world, wealth to be a dynamic force for good so that people can start businesses, start enterprise, give back, create value to the
Not
communities. And I think,
necessarily.
no, that's not your view of wealth.
That would be
I think that's
great.
my view
I
of it.
think that's a utopian view that I would be happy to have, but I don't. I'm actually going to bring up a graphic to show you if you can see. This is what I mean. Whoops, I'm moving the wrong things around. I'm trying to get that bigger. The fact that administrators in healthcare go up while the amount of physicians stay the same. Why does the administrators go up? Because they're trying to figure out how to make more money. That's not a necessary investment. Okay? Another unnecessary investment. Well, it's not even a specific unnecessary investment. Why can't I find the right image? Maybe I didn't bring it up.
Well, that's a really interesting question. Why is U.S. healthcare about twice as expensive per capita as the rest of the world?
And then look at
Why do you
this.
think that?
We got the productivity versus pay model going on. Since 1948 to 1970, it was going average about the same. And then after 1979, there was a huge split. So this is what I want to fix. I don't need everybody giving to fix it. I just know that some person who has lots of money, if they could spend money to try to fix this, that'd be great.
We agree on more than you think. In one of my books I wrote about the average ratio of CEO pay to an employee pay in the 1960s, from memory, it's around 30 to 1, and now it's around 400 to 1. So somebody's done very well out of the last 60 years, and it's not the guy who's working for a living. And you have to ask yourself, like, what in the system allows us to 10x his pay relative to everybody else? What in the system encourages that behavior? I'm a systems guy, right?
The system was made by people who already had that notion, and they wanted it to be more normal.
You mean somebody said we can design this system in the 1960s, which, by the way, the 1950s was probably the best decade for American workers ever, I suspect. Right?
I don't think people need to say it. I think it can be a convergence of ideas. So what's the incentive? Selfishness and power, right? Why do people need all that money? Why? Okay, there's definitely a difference between a billionaire and a 100-millionaire. And somebody who only has $1 billion static, and somebody who's making that much money often. So and they can move the world.
They can. I mean, which people in that class are actively trying to improve the world? Would you say?
I said move the world.
Because I don't move the world. But which one they're trying to move the world, but which of them are doing good? Which of them are contributing are they contributing 400 times the value of the nurse who's tending to a dying cancer patient, or the surgeon who's doing a heart transplant to save him? Are they worth 400 times that guy's salary? It's very hard to justify.
It's hard because all the philanthropy I can think of always has a business incentive. So even though it's good, we won't know if it stays good because they're setting up infrastructure for it.
Some people. What do you think of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? Going to give about $100 billion to schools and hospitals in Africa. What would you say to them?
That's great. There's other things they're doing that are a little bit different.
Like what?
So,
I mean, I'm curious. I mean, you may not have an
I
example.
agree. Well, it gets really complicated. So the synthetic meat thing, right?
Yeah.
They're actually investing in other companies too, and I guess it's not philanthropy, but I think of it as a necessary step forward in the long run. Yeah, but I don't think it should
be the only way. It may be the only way we survive and keep the planet alive. But anyway,
yes, but it makes it harder for people to compete in the meat industry.
You mean the people who are now killing cattle and pigs and whatever for us to all eat?
And it's going to be so the methods they're creating are all going to be patented and copyrighted in private.
Now that's interesting. Yeah, and there is a case like when people
in India, where the big agribusinesses jumped into India. They patented their seeds. They patented seeds that would work. And it's interesting, like when people try and patent like DNA sequences, they try and capture the value of life and then monetize it. And I think this is
I think
something you
I
talk.
should patent my AI workflow because I'm nervous someone else will.
There's sometimes when I use AI, I feel like it's cheating, and I hope nobody else finds out about it. And then there's sometimes where I'm like, I should get out and talk about this because it's going to help a lot of people do things. I can't, but in between, like
Well,
some of
I
the tools
want to share it with people. That's the thing. But if I patent it, I'm allowed to share it with people. If someone else does, they can say stop sharing it.
well, a lot of the stuff that knowledge workers do can be copied with a Control C and a Control V. Everything a management consultant does, Control C, Control V.
Oh, same with coders, I guess.
To require more art coding, more intellect coding. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
but you could copy and paste the last one to the
Yeah,
new
yeah,
one. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, yeah. I guess you'd be in favor of the open source movement. That's always something that's been a
I take
puzzlement.
that back. There's professional coders out there. I'm in the no code world where it's brand new. I don't have to code. I just have to understand logic, which is half the battle. The coders have to understand logic and memorize tons of.
Are you vibe coding? Are you building agentic things to help you deliver on your platform? Is that something that you like doing? Are you sort of a vibe coder, agent builder kind of guy? I don't know.
I just
I'm asking.
started trying to build web apps.
And are you using like Claude Code, or what are you using, or Cursor,
I'm
or
using
Replit?
Gemini because I bought Ultra a while ago for the image generations and stuff. So I have like unlimited prompts and stuff. So I just use it.
Yeah, yeah. I gather, and I don't have an experimental copy. Claude Cowork makes this whole world is just so much better than anything out there, but I haven't actually seen it live.
What's wrong with giving money to Africa, Dylan? You said that's not great at all. Wow, that's the thing I said was great, was giving money to schools in Africa. Why is that not great? Go ahead.
That's a good question. I mean,
Well, we gotta wait for her to answer. But
there's sometimes an idea called social Darwinism, which is they're poor for a reason because they haven't, for whatever reason. And so what you're doing by giving them money is supporting a system that's busted. You're supporting a system that's corrupt.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there are sort of racist explanations, but let's set those aside for a moment.
But it's just philanthropy. It's not like the United States government is doing it. That would be a little bit more concerning if you thought they were corrupt. But this is just Bill Gates, like whatever.
I mean, philanthropy, as sometimes practiced, can be just a way of what you call, I think, you use the word theater in your thing. It's a way of theater. It's a way
PR,
of sort
right?
of, yeah, PR. And for PR is the kind of the shiny facade over the rust, that keeps the people like who are workers, the gear, from seeing the rust. Is that standard?
Say it again?
PR, philanthropy,
Uh-huh.
is just what people who are in the rust, the elite, do to cover up the fact that they're capturing value. Yeah.
Well, I actually went to school for communications. I have a bachelor's in it, and I studied public relations. The whole point is to like make sure your public perception is better than it probably should be.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the whole point of it.
I know. What are you doing to learn, though? That's a question. I'll tell you what I'm doing to learn too, because I think this is an important thing. I have never learned as quickly as I have been learning in the last year. I find it exhilarating. But what are your practices to keep yourself ahead of the game or keeping up with the game? Because it's moving fast, bro, isn't it?
Yeah. I've always been on top of. So I grew up with when the iPhone came out, I was 13. I had an iPod Touch when I was 14. So I've had to screen and looking things up most of my like brain adult life and a little bit before. So I'm constantly looking at things like Google News and social media feeds. And I went to college for communications. Media literacy was big. They taught me how to find what real sources are and they also taught me how to weed out bias pretty easy, understanding omission as a way of misinformation, all these different things. So I have that benefit that I get to browse the news this way and actually learn from it instead of just getting. I read the same news a lot. I probably shouldn't be reading, but it's because it informs me on what other people are reading. But I read news a lot. Google News. I like YouTube. But like, you're not supposed to just trust people. You're supposed to trust your media literacy, and that's something I want to teach people.
That would be a really valuable skill. I wrote a book called Truth Wars in 2017. I wonder why I picked that thing. It's unpublished, but it had the same really worry I think that you have, is that the narrative has been corrupted, and that we all get wrapped up in the narrative, and the narrative prevents us from seeing the system. I think
the narrative's a tool, and it's our identities that really keep us in the system. We cling to narratives because it's easier than critically thinking.
Yes, critical thinking. Yeah. If only, right?
What
most people think critical thinking.
Saying, you say, oh, that's acceptable. You say, that's what my tribe's saying. And maybe if you think a little harder, you come up with your own nuanced version of it. But it takes a lot of brain power to kind of step away from what everybody else is thinking.
Well, most of us, and in fact, that includes me, don't really have enough courage in challenging our own beliefs. We can be very brave in calling someone else full of shit or whatever kind of epithet we want, but most people aren't as courageous at challenging themselves. Like, could I be full of shit here? And to be really media literate, you have to challenge yourself, right? You have to challenge your own ideology and beliefs and what you bring to the news reading that you're doing. I have friends who only read X and Reddit. Some of them are very smart, and you think I'm an idiot for reading the New York Times and the Economist. And yet when I think vice versa of them, like I won't ever go near X or Reddit.
You should be reading both.
Well, I did, right? And I decided it wasn't for me. I decided there was just too much fake news.
X and Reddit. I didn't think I thought you were gonna be like, oh, the Herald or something.
No, but I mean, people would say that
Journal.
I mean, I haven't watched cable news and like really ever in my life. I just think that's the low end of the food chain for information. They focus on drama and clicks, and if it bleeds, it leads, and things that are sideshows. And I think you probably agree. You and I agree on more things than you think, by the way. I don't think we disagree on as many things as you think. I mean, you have a really different and unique way of framing things. But when I spent my hour studying Ethan Faulkner and his ideas and his manifesto and the project, like I found myself, disagreeing here around anything, but overall, I thought it was a really robust picture. And I'm hopeful, that some of your ideas make it into the public sphere, and so people can have a serious discussion about them, about where the merit is and what routes there are for systems level change.
It's gonna
to improve
and if it's not
the world
in there. It's because there's other people out there that I keep finding it every day who see this shit too, and they'll fucking take up the gauntlet. Like I don't see this.
You're young though. You're like 30, right? So you could be doing this for another 50 years.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying I think it's inevitable. Now whether or not we can win or if we end up in a fascist state, I don't know. But I think the resistance is real.
Yeah. I've never felt more worried. I'm a green card holder. I'm European but I married an American and we moved here in 2008. I've never felt more afraid that I could be deported. There's one sort of thing in the back of my mind is like, I feel like for the first time in my life, I can't express myself fully publicly because there's a fear that I would get labeled Antifa and get thrown out of the country and I would never be able to see my kids again. Like really, that's really
wrong.
For first, at 65 years old, the first time in my life, I felt I cannot say what I think here because it would put me in jeopardy and my family at jeopardy. And I've never felt that in 65 years, and I feel it now in the United States.
My parents just had to switch churches because of this kind of shit. And they love their church. They've been there forever. My dad was a deacon. They got a new pastor because the old pastor left, and the new pastor's wife is really liberal, and she went to like a No Kings rally, and she posted some things online, and enough people in the church just like bullied them out.
Yeah, I would attend a No Kings rally, except I'm afraid that I would, by accident, get picked up, and by accident, that would be my last time in the United States. I'd get trucked off. I know it's like a remote possibility, like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000. It's just not a risk I want to take with my family. So I don't feel like I feel like my speech is very much restricted for the first time in my life, which is a shame because this country stands for free speech. But I think we're far.
I'm talking about this stuff every day. Fucking, I'm worried.
No,
it doesn't show up at my doorstep.
That's right.
I heard a helicopter the other day. I'm like, are they gonna crash it into my house?
You remember that scene in what is it, Goodfellas, when there's a helicopter going overside or something like that? You feel like you're looking out the window, like they're coming for me now.
I'm not that
my
big
numbers
yet,
are well, I dare say there's a chance. You know, like, what's your project now? Like, where you see your project now, and what are we going to see in the next 6 months that would be an evolution of your thinking or your activism or how you frame what you're doing? Like, what's
I'm going to
next?
have a whole website that has like web apps that explain certain concepts, like I was showing in those infographics. Like so it's a little interactive, educational experience of like the core examples of what drive me, I guess. And then I could also. I also have an idea for like to help my paid subscribers, to give them more because they pay money for not a lot right now. Is I could do like a service as software as a service on the website too, because I was working.
You're the only person I've ever done a paid subscription to on Substack.
Hell yeah, brother. I appreciate it.
You know, and I got in there and I was like, I'm not really making any money out of there myself. I'm not really there to make money. And then, there's a lot of people like paid subscribe. And then I like found out about this guy. Is like, all right, this guy can have some of my fucking money.
But yeah,
he's trying to do some good while he's working at a gas station. He's got my dime.
I'm trying to write a book too. You know what that's like. I have the table of contents blueprint, and that might change later as I keep writing it. But I've written
9 books.
Crazy. This is gonna be my first one, but I have a little.
You know when I wrote my first book, motherfucker, I was 53 years old when I wrote my first book.
Then you've done 9 already. That's impressive.
And I did 9. I read about 1 a year. But I'm going to tell you, I haven't said this to anybody really public, certainly not in a pour in this thing. My idea was that one of my books one day would catch fire and I would do very well and out of the book. And after 9 books, I can tell you that's not been the case. So even my books that are quote unquote bestsellers or best in class, you make $200 or $300 or $500 a month. I have a kid in college, and finally this year, 2026, I said to myself, okay, enough of the fantasy. You're not going to be J.K. Rowling here. You're going to have to do something on top of book writing.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to. I'm doing that because people ask for it, and they ask for it for the same reason you researched me before. It's because my shit's confusing sometimes, and like people need like a guide and or like a more cohesive compilation of all the ideas, right?
Who do you trust? Who do you trust to challenge your thought? Like, if your models and ideas were flawed in some way, like, do you have people who would say, "I'm not sure you're quite right there"? There's this balance between being confident, which you are, and then being humble, like, this is version 1.0. Like, and what am I doing? Are you thinking about what 2.0 looks like, or?
Yeah, when it comes to details within the model, I need help, and I know that my first ideas they don't even feel like the right ideas. A lot of it. I like to say leadership. I want to become a business that's like a media. I was trying to finish the thought after I do the website and the book. That's all part of the idea of creating a media network that doesn't fucking claim to be unbiased, and we claim to be biased for the working class.
I've never met an unbiased human, and there won't ever be as a thing as
Well,
an
have you
unbiased
ever seen a
human
news
institution.
station that said, "Yo, we fucking are biased, bro"?
Yeah, Fox serves right down the middle. You know.
Yeah, but do they say it? Do they say it? You know what I
Of course they do.
mean?
Fox actually has that in their logo, like like some kind of commitment to neutrality or balance. I mean, Fox
Well,
in any other
trying to
country
say
in the
I'm gonna
world,
do the opposite. I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna be the first honest media company, and I'm gonna be honest from the get-go by saying we're biased, motherfucker. And like, I want to be able to host other people who like to do what I'm doing. Maybe be able to like a brand. If you've seen other independent media networks, they do exist. That's what they do. They host other talents and people who write, and they can spark organized movements too. It's all about signal. Like, you got to reach everybody and know they're not alone with how they're thinking, especially in this identity network, because the Democrat signal is huge. The Republican signal is huge. Where's the working class signal?
Yeah. I think it would be so fun for you to read 3 pages of Marx, 3 pages of Nietzsche, 3 pages of, Slavoj Žižek or something like that. Your thinking is on the same level in terms of its radicalism as there. And I think like your version 2.0, Ethan Faulkner 2.0, could be really informed by some of the guys. I'm not saying you should drink the Kool-Aid wholesale, but there's a reason that
I
some
think
of these people
the
have been
framework and the core beliefs probably won't change where it comes to like ideas like the Rust. I believe it's an ideology that you choose to believe in because you have less care for other people, simply. And that's going to be hard to convince me otherwise that it's not something that people choose to do, to make those choices. And the idea that social issues is used by corporations to distract us, you're going to have trouble convincing me otherwise there. But when it comes to the details and mechanisms within these ideas, that's always open for change because the complexities are insane.
very good. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting to know you for an hour on the tour I had. I mean, I can do a lot of work with Gemini in an hour. I can go really fast. I can learn a lot, So I found it really engaging. So I'd like to anyway just say like I'd like to be on the team to challenge your thinking or amplify your thinking when I can. I mean, like I think there's enough good sense in there. And I had 13 years of college and have a master's in philosophy. So I've seen a lot of models, I've seen a lot of frameworks, I've studied political philosophy, and I see yours and I don't see anything that's like outstandingly wrong. And unfortunately, on social media, I'm very quick to call bullshit. And I've lost a few friends on Substack already, where they post something that's just complete garbage. And I'm afraid I can't restrain myself from doing
I
it.
have
Some of these
moments
people
too. I'm supposed to be like, I'm trying to be a little
but
professional over here, trying to have a
my
brand, and I'll still like
my,
flip out
my
sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't.
my commitment is I'm not committed to drinking anybody's Kool-Aid or signing anybody's
Thanks,
bullshit.
Susan.
And I don't participate on social media in order to say nice things to people. I say nice things to people like you who are committed and honest in your work and humble.
Appreciate it.
I like all that, but people who are like think they know about things about which they know nothing, and then they spout some clickbaity thing. I'm sorry, it's like a red rag to a bull with me. So I'm really bad on social media. Like I'm really bad.
I use
But that's
clickbait
not
to get you to
my
read
brand.
boring history.
My
That's how
brand.
I use it.
My brand is somebody who calls bullshit, and so I haven't found cause to do that with you. Well, I should send you a copy of my manuscript for Truth Wars, because
Hell
I
yeah.
see this. Our time is a fight over what's true, a lot, and if you can control the truth, you can control the people. Now, I'm the first person to say that. George Orwell wasn't the first person to say it, although he made the idea of him.
It's gonna be
If
a
you
lot
control,
harder soon to
if
figure
you
out what's
control the
true.
truth, you control the people. That's an 1984 ideology, right?
I'm under the impression that the idea of truth is in the process of changing, and we can't bring it back.
What do you think? Why is that? Or
And
what do you think?
it's AI's fault.
Now we got this truth. We've got this truth machine, right? Yeah, bullshit, right?
Well, it can also make fake things believable, like images and photos and.
So every time everybody says that, I think the problem is between your ears. You're not discerning enough. Like people complain about AI slop.
But we see it
People
now.
complain about AI slop. I say, clean your fucking feed. Like, don't watch that shit. That's the solution to AI slop. I don't watch the Housewives of Beverly Hills on television.
A few days now for like if a whole bunch of people start believing an AI thing, it takes a couple of days for the experts to convince them otherwise. It's only going to be harder, I think, in the future. It's not going to be easier.
Slop predates AI. In fact, slop, predates the printing press probably. It's been around for a long time, and what we can do as human beings in our little corner of the world is to prune our feeds. If you're into TikTok, right, just block, and have a feed that supports and nourishes you as a human being. I don't know. Maybe I sound like an idealist, but
No.
whatever. Like I just refuse to read shit. Mind you, I'm about to go watch a science fiction movie and a Jason Statham movie this weekend. So there's a place for shit in my life.
Hell yeah!
I'm a sci-fi.
I watch anime here and there. I wrote in my last members only article where I talk about like the behind the scenes, like my life and shit. I was like,
I'm watching Pantheon. Are you watching Pantheon right now?
Nope.
It's incredible. The best cartoon like nearly I've ever seen. It's not about AI taking over the world. It's about something called UI taking over the world.
Like I know UI is here. Oh.
No. Uploaded intelligence. So they find a way to upload your consciousness.
Oh yeah.
Into a machine.
So
when you're dead, you're still alive.
But these entities game like that.
Yeah, it's dope, right? What video games do you play? I play League of Legends and Civilization.
No way! I used to love League of Legends.
Dude, I still play.
I'm a Riven main.
My sister, my son has been playing it since he's 7 years old. He's like been thinking about going pro. Like this is the thing. Like is there any money in it?
That's always the question. League of Legends. It was such a waste of my time.
I love it.
It was such a waste of my time.
No. And the other one I became addicted to was Civilization and League of Legends.
I play video games now that have story usually because it feels like it's working the part of my brain that like I have trouble letting myself do things that aren't relevant to this, especially now that it's my job. And before it was like I'm trying to escape the gas station. So like I would only play games or watch stuff that I felt like had some sort of relevant value.
I mean, I spent my whole day like reading and writing nonfiction, like literally my whole day. Like I got up at 4 o'clock and it's now like 6:30, and that's all I've been doing all day. And so, like, if I want to watch some Garbo on TV, like Pluribus, which isn't really garbage, it's actually amazing, or Black Mirror.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of amazing shows. Yeah, Black Mirror can be
Black
good.
Mirror.
It can be good. Some episodes are misses, but.
Yeah, it's variable. It's variable. Some of them are so amazing, though. Mind blowing. That one where she's always going around with her social media, like trying to get likes and everything like that. It's called Nosedive. With that's definitely one of my favorites. I'm a big TV holic. So that's my only way to down.
Pantheon's what I'm gonna check. I like cartoons.
Dude, for real, I swear to God, you will love Pantheon.
Yeah.
Like I swear to if you like anime
cartoons, and cartoons. I like both.
Yeah. I'm actually watching the original Ghost in the Shell actually right now with my son.
It itches my brain in a way more than live action.
Oh, it is, because right now they're talking about whether these UIs have rights. This uploaded intelligence has rights, like human rights. And I'm watching it with my kids and I'm like, yo, this is a conversation we're going to have one day about whether AI has rights. Like it's a few years away, maybe 5 or 10 years away, but there will come a time when, dude, 5 or 10 years. I'm
agnostic on that idea. I'm agnostic.
Well, that's fine. I mean, all speculations are about the future are you know, at least at some level bullshit, right? They can't be
Well,
too rigorous.
doesn't that come with like the idea of like consciousness and all that shit?
You know, I got into a debate with a bunch of people on Substack about it, and I was just like, you know what, I'm over this. Not
It
only,
becomes a semantic
not only,
debate
not
for
only,
me.
not only are they, not only are they full of shit, but I'm not really achieving anything by batting around consciousness with people who don't take the topic
But
seriously.
the semantics confuse me. How do we even define consciousness when we're the only ones who have
You
it?
can't.
Or that's what I mean. Like,
No, that's a kind of a dumb definition. But look, I mean, something that philosophers, the best philosophers in the world, have spent centuries debating, you know, and we think we're going to solve it in a quarter of an hour on Substack. I don't think so.
it's so
So
funny.
whatever. Yeah, I'm like, I'm over talking about, consciousness. I got into it with someone on it. I'm like,
No,
okay,
you
fuck
don't.
this.
You don't do it because you think you can
It's a waste
solve
of.
it. You do it because you understand that butterfly effects are real. You know that change doesn't happen instantly, and you know that just talking to a few people and working on your delivery and how you can convince people. Like that's what I do on Substack. I know I can't just convince everybody, but I right
Oh no, have you
away.
made any? Have you made any enemies there? Have you met anybody that thinks like Ethan's just this like huge
Oh yeah.
troll,
Oh yeah.
full of shit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially because I use AI. Especially.
And is there anybody who says like Ethan is like produces too much content? Like anybody who's feel like they're drowning in it? Because there was a time when I was getting like
Yeah.
six emails a day from you, like,
That's
oh
why.
whoa,
That's why
whoa.
I stopped.
You backed off a little bit.
Well, I did a poll asking all my subscribers, and like over 100 people responded, and part of the questions was asking how many articles they want a week, and most people voted for one.
Oh really?
Yeah, so now I'm doing, and I took advantage of that, and I'm trying to do a video article with it. It's like a video at the same with every.
But you have like short form like glitches, right? And then you
in
got your like
between if I
week.
want to, yeah.
Yeah,
I know those aren't
yeah.
guaranteed. And then I have other people writing for me because like I'm trying to boost voices that I agree with or that I think they have more to offer. And also because it allows me to do things like build the website and the book and still have content for other people too.
Book is an interesting choice. As someone who's written 9 of them, and
It's gonna be more like a manual is how I look at it, I think.
so manual like for ways for people to take action, like the anarchist,
a companion guide to learning the language and the topics I've covered.
So it's going to be like 100 pages. It's not going to be like 500 pages, right? It's going to be like 100.
I'm thinking 200 maybe.
Yeah.
But I do want to do manuals that are for action too. I have a blueprint of one on Buy Me a Coffee that's very simple. Cause like I switched to Buy Me a Coffee after I don't know this. I got banned from Substack for a day.
Why, bro? Why?
Spam.
Because you're like over publishing, over spamming people,
putting stuff in too many chats.
Huh.
So they took away my income for a day too. Because it was going to be permanent. I had to reach out.
You're above subsistence level on there now, right?
What's that mean?
You're making enough to pay the rent. You don't have to go back to the gas station. You're like chill. You're like chill for a bit.
I have enough to reinvest and pay the authors some and try out different softwares, and I'm trying to figure out how to spend money back into this to make it more solid.
And where do you live? Where's that messy ass apartment?
This is my parents' house.
Oh, sorry. What town? Indiana still?
Massachusetts.
Oh, you're okay. Why did I think Indiana was part of your story?
I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever. Okay, I'm wrong. What, like Beantown, or where are you?
Near Cape Cod.
Pretty nice part of the world.
At the end of it, Wareham.
You don't have you don't have a Boston accent, like not even a little, bro.
I got a New Bedford accent.
New Bedford. All right, we should wrap it up. It's been absolutely amazing, chatting to you and getting to know you a bit. Like I do feel like you got a lot to offer to the world and stuff like that. We didn't talk about my shit very much, but
Do you want to? You got a book here, or you're coming out soon?
I have a fuck ton of books, but I think an hour and a half is longer enough for almost everybody. We'll do it another time or whatever. But I thank you for supporting my shit, by the way, online. Like, I really appreciate that.
Hell yeah, man.
You know,
I should do it more
you've been. Don't worry about it. And if I could do anything for you, you let me know. If you ever want, by the way, to bat something by, like a guy who's like professional philosopher, like arguably or whatever, like managing, and like if you want to run some shit by me, I'd be more than happy to do a little rope a dope with you there.
And
I'm going to send you
the. Yeah.
I'm going to send you, like, this is the way he's like Marx, and this is the way he's not like Marx. This is what Marx would say, and this is how like Faulkner would say he's bullshit. No, I have a whole fucking 3 pages on you and how you're like Marx, Nietzsche, Ayn Rand, and Slavoj Žižek.
Okay.
So like I might as well send it to you. It's not gonna be any use to me after this phone call, bro.
That's
I'll tell
so funny.
you. No, but no, like I do homework. One of the things I learn in business is you prepare for things, right?
I'm humbled.
Well, I read a lot of, you know, you prepare. That's one of the things in the business world teaches you is if you're having an important meeting, you're prepared for. Oh.
I got you.
Anyway, homie, I will send you this because you'll find it very interesting. I think you should read a little Marx and a little Nietzsche just to see where, you know, the things that you're channeling in your architecture there.
We need all hands on deck. Any help we can get, so I appreciate it.
No, you're doing pretty awesome, man. You're doing pretty awesome. Anything I can do for you, definitely let me know, though. All right? Anything you need, whatever.
All right, guys. It's Paul Givens. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. I got an article coming out tomorrow, video. Peace.
All right, peace. Bye-bye.